come for the ride. Shunters are an important part of a railway's infrastructure. Without them, trucks and coaches wouldn't be able to be moved about the yards with ease, and trains wouldn't be coupled up, leading to mass confusion. The shunters themselves are a small group of workers, but take their job very seriously. All except one. Johnny Daniels was a wild sort. When it came to his job, he was armed and ready with the shunter's pole. He was never late, always managed a couple of train in 10 minutes time, and always had enough time to bid the crew and engine off. When it came to shunting, it truly was his game. He had recently grown quite the friendship with Thomas and his crew. So much so, to save him grief, Thomas's driver and fireman let Johnny ride on the footplate when Thomas was busy shunting. Johnny appreciated it greatly and made sure to say so. If it weren't for you three, I'd be going home with worn-out boots every day. See you all tomorrow. Take care, Mr. Daniels. See you first thing tomorrow. If he wasn't such a good worker and jokester, I'd never let him on the steps to the cab. Well, regardless of how well we know him, he surely does us a good turn, so why not return it? The three happily agreed and set off for home. Next morning, Thomas was back in the yard again. He made his way over to the workman's hut and they met with Johnny. He jumped onto Thomas's steps and off they went shunting. They managed well and kept to time. The trucks moved with ease and Johnny was quick to couple them up, jump back to the cab steps and stand watch as Thomas moved them from one siding to the next. Thomas marveled at Johnny's quick steps. As Thomas was finished shunting the first train, Duck had arrived to marshal his own. When he came across Thomas, he noticed Johnny and gasped incredulously. "Just what do you think you're doing?" "Shunting. What do you think?" Thomas smiled innocently. Duck nearly choked. "Shunters are not allowed to ride on the footplate of engines. It's against railway regulations. It isn't dignified. Why, on my days on the Great Western—" "That old plateway," Thomas groused. "Plateway? Let me tell you—" "Enough!" Henry barked as he rolled into the yards. He was red in the face and whooshing steam in all directions. "You two argue like an old married couple. Here's what I think. Let Thomas shunt how he wants. He's been here the longest. He's got seniority." "Ha ha!" Thomas chortled in glee as Henry directed his eyes to him. "And you can save the insults for yourself. There's no need to make fun of someone else's home just because they don't like the way you do things. Now, someone better have my train ready before the clock strikes, otherwise it'll be the fat controller insulting you, not me." Grumbling dreadfully, Henry snorted to the platform as Thomas held his smug look in haughty grandeur there. "Well, well, well, I suppose some of us have it, and some of us don't. Run along now, Duck. I'll handle this." "Oh, no, you don't. I can handle some coaches just fine. You and your little thing," he snarled, gesturing to Johnny, who was just walking back, "can go somewhere else." "Coaches? Hello?" "Mind you don't swim in a pond, Duck," Thomas smiled as he suddenly darted off for the coaches. Duck sat there brooding. That night, he couldn't help but voice his frustrations. "Who does that tank engine think he is, allowing a shunter, of all things, to ride on the footplate? It's improper." "I don't really see anything wrong with that. He's just a shunter." "You wouldn't. You big engines rarely do the shunting round here." "Aye? Look here, laddie. Me and Donny are mixed traffic. MIXED traffic, you heard? Sounds like you an issue above our standards. If you're so big about it, how about you give it a go?" "Think I can't manage?" "Dear me, a man is dunce. No, I think you can handle it just fine, but I didn't need to hear your blither about it." Let an engine sleep! Douglas's voice carried round the shed. Donald tried to calm his twin, but the two ended up bickering in Scots. The other engines let them stew, and before Duck could give his retort, Douglas's shed doors banged with a thunderous clatter. That shut Duck up right there and then. Next morning, Thomas was slow steaming up, so Duck took over the shunting, much to the truck's dismay. "Who's he to come here and push us round? He hasn't been here in ages. Thomas knows us better. I'm quite fond of Duck, really." "Shut it, Marie." "I have an idea. Sal, you slip your brakes on. Murray, throw some taunts, and Joe, you just make sure the others know that we want Johnny and Thomas back, not this stuck-up waddler." The trucks giggled madly as Duck bumped them hard. "Look sharp, no bumping and gossiping." "We'll give him bumping." Duck marshaled James's goods train, then set off for the express. As he did, Johnny came walking by from the works hut. "Hey up, Thomas. Oh, hello, Duck. How's tricks?" "Ah, well, onwards we roll along," he smiled, grabbing a hand iron. "Just what the devil do you think you're doing?" "Oh, I'm catching a ride. That's what I always do. Well, saves me feet and boots." "You may be able to play that silly sodden game with Thomas and his crew, but you won't with us." "Well, steady on. There's no need for that. I'm only trying to keep up with my routine." "Well, do it with someone else. It won't fly with me, Shunters boy." Johnny was aghast. He gripped his pole tightly and stormed off to the trucks behind him. "Well then, away we go. Quick march, what? Duck was horrified. "Get off! Get off! You're going to get hurt!" "Stuffing nonsense. You don't want to do me a simple favor, so I'll ride alongside a truck. Go on then." Duck's eyes glared back, and he gritted his teeth. He snorted forward, bumping and banging into the coaches. Johnny jumped down from the truck and coupled them up in a flick. Duck tried to start away before Johnny could hop back on, only to see him dangling from the coach side. "Didn't you listen to me earlier? Get down, now!" "Not a hope. You won't do me a simple favor, so I'll ride where I please. As I said before, you might as well give it up." Duck's temper flared hotter than before. He jerked the coaches roughly, and Johnny wobbled as the trucks began to giggle cheekily. We'll show him! We'll show him!" The trucks waited patiently as Duck took the coaches to the platform. At this point, Johnny had already hopped off and gone to another train, but Duck was still fuming as he backed the coaches to the platform. "What's got you all pent up?" "That shunter, he thinks he can climb on my footplate or ride on the side of trucks and coaches." "Oh, this again. You two need to solve this quarrel, otherwise I'll handle the shunting myself." Duck felt hurt. He snarled to himself and stormed to the yards. The trucks had had enough of his bumping and banging. They had had enough of his treatment of Thomas and Johnny. The trucks were ready to enact their plan, but Duck had caught them unawares. As he began to move the trucks round, Johnny hopped onto a truck behind Duck. Duck could hear his feet hit the spokes, and he grew cross. With nowhere to spend it, he took it out on the trucks. "All right, lads, time's now!" "Come on, don't dawdle, don't dawdle!" Everything happened at once. The trucks slipped their brakes on, and Duck caught them hard. He caught them with a jar, and the effect followed him and the trucks coupled behind. Johnny held on for dear life as the bumping and banging continued. "Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on!" Just then, Thomas came into the yards with his goods train from the branch line. He could hear Duck snorting and banging the trucks. "What is that panner playing at? Acting like a bull in a china shop." Thomas's whistle sounded and his wheels pounded the rails as Duck's wheels slipped and he gave one final bang. That tore it. Johnny, trying to regain his footing, slipped off the spoke and fell onto the rails and ballast. Duck's driver looked back in horror. "Get him out! Get him out!" Still fussing, Thomas rounded the bend, only to finally put his attention on the line ahead. His eyes went wide as his whistle shrieked and brakes came on. "Gangway! Gangway! Stop!" Johnny slipped on the damp rails, trying to get out of the way as Thomas rapidly approached. From a siding, a man came running and dove for Johnny, throwing both of them from the tracks as Thomas rocketed past. At last, with a great force of air coming against them, Thomas came to a deafening halt, just a few feet from Johnny's landing. "What are you playing at?" Duck demanded as Thomas tried getting his breath back. "What am I playing at? What are you playing at? Banging the trucks the way you were. It's no surprise Johnny fell and I nearly turned him into a pancake." "I should think the same thing, too. You nearly could have hurt him, or worse. I'd consider yourself very lucky, you great western waddler, 'cause you nearly had your wings clipped." "Couldn't have put it better myself," a familiar voice boomed. There, standing nearby, was the Fat Controller. Duck only gulped as Thomas and Douglas's firemen fell silent. It was shortly after that Edward arrived with the breakdown gang, as the Fat Controller finally voiced his thoughts. "Disregard for the safety of shunters, rules broken and bent, brakes now locked and seized up, trucks possibly damaged, and a spoiled record of valiant shunting from over the years. I sure hope you understand why this is an issue, Duck. Edward, you may take Thomas to the works. He'll need new brakes after this stunt." "Now, Duck, I understand your great western ways are special to you," the Fat Controller said calmly. "However, I don't approve of this childish schoolyard tiff you seem to have with shunters. Shunters are important to a yard's work. Regardless of you and your driver's opinion, there is nothing wrong with him wanting to catch a small ride. On the side of a truck or a coach it is not okay, but there is nothing wrong with a ride on the footplate." "Yes, sir. I understand, sir." "Now Mr. Daniels will have to go to hospital for his injuries, Thomas will be stuck at the works, and I am now down a station pilot. I'll have to make other arrangements. You've put us in an awkward predicament, Duck." As punishment for the next few days, the Fat Controller told Duck he was to stay in the yard until he knew as much about shunting as the big engines did. Edward and Douglas taught him well and helped him understand how versatile shunters were. "The Fat Controller's coming tomorrow to see how you're getting on." "I suppose I'm getting on well now, aren't I?" "Of course you are. I think you know just as much about trucks as yon and he does know." "Well, almost. It takes a lot of remembering to keep trucks in order. Or smashing a brake van." "Steady on!" Douglas chortled as the trio got back to working the yards. A few days later, a truck had appeared in the yard. One the engines had never seen before. Edward pushed it along towards Duck and Douglas. "What in the name of Mary have you found?" "This is a shunter's truck," the Fat Controller proudly presented as he stepped down from Edward's cab. "The men at Croven's Gate Works have been informed of our recent debacle and decided to whip up one of these shunter's trucks. I'm surprised you're not familiar with them, Duck, seeing as the Great Western pioneered them." "Oh, well, it's just I never really had to use them. It was mainly the coaches I handled, sir. That, and it wasn't too difficult a yard to manage." "Be that as it may, I hope this truck will alleviate any future quarrels with shunters and footplates, Oh, of course, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Duck grinned as the Fat Controller continued. All you need to do is be mindful of the truck behind you and give the shunters plenty of time to get used to them. I do hope you can manage it. Duck whistled gaily. The following days, the yards were handled well and without mishap. Duck got along well with any shunter he met, and they all found the new truck was a sight to behold. It wasn't long until Thomas returned from the works and took over the yards once more. Even he thought the shunter's truck was helpful. Although, between you and me, Thomas keeps that to himself, lest he incur Duck's great western ways all over again.